the critic when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic when she all up in your city. Oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the critic. Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic.
Critic, and I am just so glad to see you. It's the holiday season. This is the last show of the year for me, and I'm excited and hopefully just really, really excited about 2012 and all that's going on. If you saw my show last week, I was talking to Mr. Waldo about some financial institutions and talked to Mr. Bill a few weeks before that about the Michael Jackson saga. And then we also talked about Syracuse, New York, and Penn States. But on another nicer note, as we're going out, I want to talk to you about the holidays. You know, a lot of times we get really, really, I mean, our children, our grandchildren, they get us all hyped up about the holidays, and you know, we just get out and get overextended. And you know, I heard that the Black Fridays were just horrible. I mean, even not just in California, but all across the country. I read in different newspapers where the Black Friday thing, you know, people were getting shoved, pushed, stabbed, punched, you know, pepper sprayed. I mean, just ridiculous all over this. You know, what, a couple of bucks for an item. You know, a $6 item. A waffle maker probably getting it for $2. I mean, really, is it really worth the hassle? So I saw a lot of that and heard a lot of that this year. But what I want to talk to you about is just, you know what, we as Americans have gone through quite a bit in these last, gosh, I don't want to say 4 years. I want to say the last 12 years has been a real serious pull on us as a people, on us as citizens, Americans. Just overall, we've had on the economy, the stock market, the banking institutions. I mean, everything just going just pretty much awry. And what I want to say is that we made it. We made it. I mean, there are some that didn't, but we did. We're still here. We're still standing, even though it is not what we wanted it to be. We're still here. I mean, we're able to eat, we're able to laugh and talk, we're able to enjoy family and love on our grandchildren. My grandchildren are spending the holiday with me a few days, you know, and we're going to all spend the holiday together, myself and my children. And I'm blessed. I'm very blessed. And this year, I want to do something a little different. Some very dear friends of mine, Bunny and Frank Wilson, over the years, they've always done this Happy Birthday Jesus party. And I always thought it was just such an awesome thing, because what they would do, they would just bring this huge birthday cake out, and they put candles on there, and we'd sing Happy Birthday Jesus, and they would have all this food, and we'd eat and fellowship. And it was just very, just a wonderful thing to just sing Happy Birthday to Jesus. No gifts exchanged, nothing like that. Just people coming together and having a good time. And as I thought about it over the years, and as I thought about it, I was trying to think about one of the most exciting things that happened to me when I was coming up, or those things that happened to me during Christmas time. And one of the things that I decided to do this year for my grandchildren and my children was, I'm just going to go old school, okay? Do you remember when you went to your grandma's or your great grandmother's, because I was fortunate enough to have both, and when you got there, they had this brown paper bag, and in the brown paper bag was an apple, an orange, some nuts, and some hard candy. Remember the little ribbon candy, the little ribbon hard candies, and the nuts were always the Brazil nuts, the pecans, and the walnuts. And everybody almost always had the same thing. I mean, you could look in your brother's bag or your sister's bag, and everybody had the orange, the apple, the nuts and the peppermint stick or the hard candies. And I thought about that. I mean, I was just so excited to get that. I mean, when my brothers and myself, when we came to my great grandmother's, I mean, and my great grandmother was one of 18 children. So she came, she died when she was 108. So she lived a long, full life. And with my mother and my grandmother and then us, it was like, what I'm saying? So she had to provide these little packages for everyone. And she did. I mean, we knew when we got there without a doubt, we were going to get that brown paper bag with that orange, that apple, that hard candy, and those nuts and those hard Brazil nuts that we would, at that time, we must have been crazy, cracking our teeth on those hard Brazil nuts. But you had to have an old school nut cracker to crack them. But you're talking about fun. I mean, we had so much fun. We laughed. You got a chance to interact with your cousins. You got a chance to interact with, with family. And of course, family lived in the community, so no one lived far from one another. So it was not but just a stone's throw for everybody to get to grandma's or great grandma's house and for us to interact and exchange gifts. And I mean, you always had the aunt or your aunt that was the one that gave the crummy gifts. It's always one. It's always one aunt always one aunt or cousin that gives the crummy gifts. I mean, no matter what. And then you could have a grandmother or mother that gives the really good gifts, but it was always that one in the family that gave the crummiest gifts. I mean, it was always something that you could not use, something that was just something, just crummy, just the crummiest gifts you can ever imagine. We had an aunt that used to give us the most horrible gifts. And one year, my grandmother said to us, you know what, you guys, you don't even have to accept her gifts this year. And she said to her one day, she says, I always give your children these wonderful gifts, and you always give my grandkids these horrible gifts. So no longer will exchange. But I mean, everybody's got one. But just this year, this year, I want to talk about just some things that we can do, to just to make it happen. I mean, some things, calling up a friend and saying, hey, let's go to a movie. One of the greatest movies that I have not seen that everyone has told me about, and I haven't got a chance to see it, is called The Courageous. And a good friend of ours, a family member, is in the movie, but I'm told it was like one of the best stories of the year, best movies of the year. And I encourage you, if it's probably not out, but I encourage you to go and get it on CD and watch it with your family. Let's have family night again. We used to come, when we came up, we had family conference time. And once a week, my children and I would get together, and it was like they had that time to air out all their grievances, everything that they were not happy about. That was their time, that one day a week for them to air out their grievances. I'd listen to it, take it up under consideration, and then my husband and I, we would, do what we were going to do. But let's get back to those things. We need to get back to where our country is facing one of the most critical times that it has ever faced. And us as baby boomers and Generation Xers and millennials and all that other good stuff, all those other folks that they've called, I mean, we are facing some really trying times. We're facing some critical decisions with Social Security, critical conditions with our banking institutions, critical things with our economics, period. I mean, I was just thinking just the other day, I thought, wow, we had the windstorm here in Pasadena, and it probably, I wasn't here, I was out of town, but when my daughter called me on the phone, she said, Mother, Pasadena's in a state of emergency. And I thought, really? Well, I'm not even there. So I got a chance to escape it. But you know what I thought about when I was there? I thought, wow, even had I been there, I couldn't go to the bank and get any money because the electricity was down, so the ATMs were not working. Then I thought about the gas station pumps. They probably, everything runs on electricity. Everything is electrical. My good friend Chewy's Tires over there, Monica, was saying to me that their business had been down for such a long time, and they had to even get a generator to keep their business going. And even with that, if they wanted to purchase a generator, she said it was $45,000. I don't know about you, but that's a house in some places. You can buy a house for that much. So that's quite a bit. So I thought about it, and as I go out in the year, I thought about the things to say to you guys, and what to talk about. And the only thing that I could really come up with is being loyal. I want to thank you guys. I mean, every year I get calls from people on the telephone. I see people on the street that say, hey, Rick, I love the show. I like what you're talking about. And that's a good feeling for me, because when I'm talking about people doing us wrong, I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about us as a community, us as people. When we spend our money somewhere, we need to have, someone needs to service us with a smile, and they need to give us what we ask for and not give us what they want us to have. I mean, we've seen so many things that have just come by the wayside because of the people, us not just saying, hey, wait a minute, hold it, stop, wait a minute. That's inappropriate, unacceptable behavior, and we don't want it. We don't want it anymore. I think this year, as we come together with our loved ones, as we come together with our grandchildren and our children and our great-grandchildren, I think that the most important thing that we could give them is to talk to them about being loyal, talk to them about family, talk to them about how important it is to be able to come together, not just as a family, but even coming together as a community. We don't want to be able to have to come and count on one another when there's a disaster. Just as one just happened. I was talking to a lady when I was in the post office, and she said to me, she said, you know what, Rick? She said, when the windstorm came, she said, I don't even know my neighbor, and my neighbor doesn't even know me. And we had to come out in the dark, and I was in my house for 6 days without power. And I couldn't help feeling like, what about the elderly? What about the other people? But listen, before I go any further, we're going to take a station break. I want you to come back, go to the bathroom, get yourself some popcorn. You know how I tell it. And just hurry up and come on back, and we'll finish this in a minute, okay?
I'm principal of a new kind of public school. It's open up to 15 hours a day, year-round. It has loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. We have medical and dental services right here. Our teachers have more time to teach. Our students are better prepared to learn. There's just one problem. We can't get the kids to go home.
Find out how your school can be more like this one. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN.
I'm back, and that was quick too, so I hope you made a really quick run. You didn't have to go and stay a long time, so just come on back. But anyway, before we took one off the air, I talked about loyalty. And what I want to talk about, and just to continue to talk about, is us just kind of loving one another and just getting to know. We need to know who lives next door to us on one side, who lives next door to us on the other side. It's not enough that, there's a tragedy that strikes in our neighborhood or in our community, and the first thing we say is, oh, wow, they seem like an awful nice guy. Well, yeah, they seem like an awful nice guy because you never interacted with them. You never had a lot of conversation with them. So you never really knew what kind of person was in the neighborhood. And maybe, just maybe, if you had had more than 15 or 20 minutes of conversation with them on a constant basis, and I don't mean every day, but I mean even once a week, a couple of times a week, there should have been something to implicate or to indicate that it was something really wrong, you know what I'm saying, with Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, we have gotten to a point where we don't even, it's like we get up, we go to work. If we have a job, we go to work and we don't even think about it. It's just straight tunnel vision. It's like, go to work. I don't want to look to the left. I don't want to look to the right. I just want to go straight to work. And it's bigger than that. We've got to become more aware of what is going on in our neighborhood. We've got to become aware of what's going on in our community. We've got to be more aware of the people that are in our surroundings. And going through school, and I just graduated, thank you. And the first thing that I learned and the last thing that I remember, and it sticks with me even today, is know those who labor amongst you. Know those who labor amongst you. It doesn't seem like much, but it's kind of like one of those things that my grandma used to say to me, you, Rick, it pays to know the background of the man that you have children by. I used to think, that's so crazy. No, it's not. It's not crazy at all. It makes quite a bit of sense. As I got older and became an adult, fully grown, then I understood exactly what she was saying. So what I'm saying to you in a nutshell is this. 2012 coming in, let's be concerned about our community. Let's be concerned about the situation around us. Okay, yeah, we may not be making the kind of money, we may not be doing a whole lot of things that we'd like to do, but guess what? There's a neighbor, there's someone in your neighborhood that's an elderly lady or elderly man that has no one. Take the time to stop and knock on the door and say, listen, do you need a cup of water? I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need anything? Do you need some milk? Do you need some butter? Do you need some eggs? Do you need some bread? Take your time and knock on the door. Send your children over there to knock on the door and cut their grass. And I don't mean for pay. I mean for free. Cut their grass. Go over and do you know that elderly people have been here, doing all the things that have allowed us the freedoms that we have now? And for whatever reason, we've just kind of forgotten about them, not thinking that we too will become elderly one day if we're lucky. So let's not just keep passing by Miss Smith's house and saying, ooh, her grass is high. She's in there and she's so mean. How about taking the time to knock on Miss Smith's door and say, look, I got my grandson, I got my son here. We're going to cut your grass for you. You know what I'm saying? Do you need us to bring you some food? Do you need us to do something for you? And not just because it's the holidays. The holidays are a real tough time for a lot of people. I hear people all the time saying, this is really a tough time for me between November and December because they've lost loved ones, because the holidays just lets them know just how lonely they are when they go out. Those people are right on your street, right there in your community. And because you see them smiling every day, they don't have a spouse, they don't have a girlfriend or boyfriend, they don't have any children. Because we see them smiling, we just assume that they're in good shape and that everything's fine. Not so. Sometimes just take the time to knock on the door and say, hey, how you doing? Last week or so, a friend of mine, she had game night. I wasn't able to make it, but they had game night. Let's get back into that kind of stuff again. Let's get back into interacting, and we don't have to spend a lot of money to have fun. We can sometimes come up with some wonderful things and just on talking to someone. Just a game night, I wasn't able to go, but a friend of mine that we both met and then a friend of hers, they were able to connect together and network. You never know how God is going to bring about some things to happen in your life. Sometimes you're sitting in the house, sitting on the couch, looking at the TV, thinking, well, it's going to knock on the door. No, Sometimes you have to get out. You have to go out. You have to go amongst people and just sit there and talk and converse and just find out what's going on in the world. Sometimes your blessing is right there, right amongst you, and you don't even know it because you've not taken the time to open the door, step out of the door, go on the other side and do something. This year, I've decided, like I said, and you might want to think about it. If some of you are boomers, I'm a boomer, and some of you are boomers, you will know what I'm talking about when I talk about that brown paper bag and the nuts and the fruit and all that. That was the best time of my life. When I look back, I can only think about, all we can think about is playing. I can think about my brothers, building a go-kart out of a shopping cart. I can think about putting baseball cards in our bikes and the flaps and all that. Just good, clean fun. Our kids can't even go outside anymore. Our children are so glued looking at the television or playing video games that they don't even know what's going on the rest of the world. They have no communication skills. These youngsters, they're texting. My kids, like I said, if I call them on the phone, they won't even return a call. If I text them, I get an immediate text back. That's crazy. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear something in your voice that says you're okay. And a lot of times you can't get that in a text. Okay, so I text you in large caps. and you tell me, oh no, I'm offensive, text in lower caps. Come on. What needs to happen is more interaction. And I have to say, I'm very, very pleased with President Obama's stand on obesity, his stand on community, his stand on the fathers and families getting together. When I see Michelle Obama standing next to her husband and their children, and I see them interacting, I see them going into places like Roscoe's and Target and all these kind of things. They're just regular. They're regular people. Yes, they are the president. He is the president of the United States. She is the first lady, but it's still family. It's still okay. It's still ordinary. And that's what we need. That's what they want us to see. And we see that. It's not all the glitz. It's not all the glamour. It's not all of that. Sometimes it's just as simple as picking up the phone and saying, look, you know what? I was thinking about you today, and I thought I'd pray for you. And I want you to know that I love you, and I want you to stay encouraged, sister. I want you to stay encouraged, brother. And you know what I'm saying? And that's it. You know, look, I don't have a lot of time to talk. I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you. Stay encouraged. Listen, not just the holiday times, but all 2012 next year. I believe it's going to be an exciting year for us. I believe that for the first time that we're going to see some light. I hear the specialists talking about the economy, the banking. I hear all of that. I hear all the gloom and doom. I hear all that. But inside here, I feel and believe, I believe that there's going to be some ray of hope. I believe that this year, 2012, is going to be the best year for us as people, as Americans, that we've seen in a long time. I believe that there are going to be some big changes, and I believe that the little things, if we learn to take care of the little things, and if we learn to be responsible and respectable of little things, then God will definitely give us some larger things. I just know that we must stay encouraged. I know that we just got to keep on moving forward, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like. We got to stay focused on the goal. We got to stay focused on the end of the price. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And this year, some of us have made it and some of us haven't. But those of us that have made it, we need to continue to stay focused, continue to stay on the mark, continue to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. We must keep moving forward. We cannot bend or waver or anything like that. As easy as it is to waver, yeah, it is. And yeah, we want to. Yeah, it's kind of like you get into bed and you get up early in the morning and it's raining and you pull the cover up like this and then you pull it up to your face and it's like, I don't want to get up. I just want to stay asleep. Yeah. But you know you got to get up. You know you got to go out. You know you got to do something. So let's, by all means, you guys, all means, let's not a New Year's resolution. I don't want to say that because those are so easy to break. I know they are for me. I mean, every year I say I'm going on a diet. Every year I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. and I start out, come January, I'm in the race. I'm running. Then by the end of January, the end of February, I start teetering down, getting slower and slower and slower until, as you know, it's like, well, I'll start it tomorrow. I'll start walking the next day. And I keep on and keep on. So let's not say a resolution. Let's just say that we're going to do better this year. Let's say that, yeah, it's a lot of things we missed last year, but this year, we're going to do a little better. We're going to save our money. You know what I'm saying? Instead of taking our money and going out and spending it on people who clearly are not nice to us, people who clearly are not looking for our, are interested in our safeguard or interested in our safety. And when I say that, just like those Black Fridays, they should have had it should not have been as chaotic and as crazy as it was. It shouldn't have been like that, but it was. Because the merchants' only thought and only interest is getting your money. So whether there's an incident, they could care less. They're only interested in getting your money. So, hey, listen, as consumers, let's say, you know what? I was going to buy that big flat screen. What is it? Big flat screen TV. But you know what? I don't really need it. I've got a nice size television that I can see everything that I want. And you know what? Let's try turning off the TV some days. Let's just, you know what? How about, one day out of the week, we're not even going to look at TV. We're going to play games with with my family, or we're going to go skating. We're going to go to the park and sit down and listen to the birds. We're going to call some people up on the phone and say, listen, come by the house. We're going to have a book reading. We're going to all read the same book, and we're going to have a discussion on the book. Let's try thinking about ways that we can all come together and enjoy one another and have a great time. And it doesn't cost us any money. It doesn't cost any money for you, and you to come to my house and I pop some popcorn or make a big pot of spaghetti or what have you, and we sit down and eat and have a wonderful, wonderful time. And not to mention, some great context come out of it. Do you know that one person, like you're, 6 people away from knowing that famous person? You know, out of 6 people, one of us will know Oprah. I don't mean know her like through the television. I mean, actually know her, or know Bill Cosby, or know any actor or actress. And I'm not just saying them, even President Obama. But my point is that if you don't get out and you don't mingle and you don't talk to people and you don't come together and do things together, you're not going to know what's going on. You could be the best baker in the world at home, and your children could love your cookies. They could love your cakes. They could love all of that. But until you come over to my house and we have a game night, or you come over to my house and we have a reading, until you come to my house and bring that wonderful cake there, guess what? All the other people there that don't even know about your wonderful cake, they have a slice of it, and guess what girl, listen, I'm having some people at my house and we're going to have cake and coffee. How much is the cake? And I'd like to purchase a couple of those cakes for the holidays. The cake was wonderful. Just those little things, guys, just those little things. I mean, you never know where your next dollar is going to come from until you come out and start living. Okay, listen. I'm wrapping it up, I just because I love talking to you, but I want you to know that to stay encouraged, 2012 is going to be a wonderful year for us. And listen, stay upbeat, know your community, know your neighbors, and start coming together. And don't forget, do old school for Christmas. It doesn't cost a lot either. Get some nuts from downtown, apples, oranges, put in a brown bag, put a ribbon around it and say, Merry Christmas, love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday, and I look forward to seeing you next year. Good night.
The critic when she come into your place, so you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic when she all up in your city. Oh, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it, let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the critic. Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the critic. Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick.